Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well today. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. I want to talk to you guys about something. I want to talk to you guys, and I really want to see the opinions of not just women, because a lot of women talk on my channel, but I want to see the opinions of men too, of what they think about this. Because a lot of people, I saw something similar to this on TikTok. And somebody was saying, like, how when you are, when you ask God to reveal who your husband is or to reveal who your wife is, you got to be careful in praying about that. Because when you say, God, I want to know who my husband or my wife is, if it's not time for y'all to be together, but you're praying that God reveals them even though it's not time and you know who they are, it can be a painful experience because it's not time for you guys to be together yet, because you may have things you got to work on, they may have things they got to work on, but because you prayed and asked God to reveal it to you, you are now able to see everything in the spirit that is going on with them now that you know who the person is. And I saw this on TikTok, and when I saw it, I was like, this lady is telling the truth. This is something that I talk about a lot on my channel as well, and it's the truth. When you pray to God and ask God to reveal who your wife or your husband is, and you pray and you're sure you want to know, even though it's not time yet, you just want to know, you got to be prepared for what's gonna come. You got to be prepared for you being able to see in the spirit now everything about them. Because once you know, and it's not time for y'all to come together, if they have things they got to work on, you're going to see everything in the spirit that's going on with them. And I know some people say, like, being able to see what someone else is doing can oftentimes be an invasion of privacy. And yes, it can. It can be an invasion of privacy, but if that is someone that you are interested in and someone that you love and someone that you want to settle down with, and God has said that's your wife or that's your husband, I don't feel like it's an invasion of privacy. Because oftentimes when you are very gifted in the spirit, you don't even have to ask God to show you anything. It's just revealed to you. You don't have to ask God to look through, the person you're supposed to be with. You don't have to ask God to look through their phone or to look through their emails. Sometimes it's just revealed to you. You're not even thinking about nothing. You're not even trying to know what's going on. It's like a situation where it's like you just want to know, God, when are we going to be together? Is it time yet for us to be together? Why can't we be together right now? And then all of a sudden you're seeing certain things going on and you're like, man, this is why we're not supposed to be together right now, because look what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes things will just be revealed to you, especially if you are someone that can see in the spirit. And this is one of the reasons why there's so many single Christians who are not with anybody right now. It's not because they want to be single. Some do. There's a couple of reasons. Some it's because they have that religious spirit, and it's like, they may not know who their person is, and they have that religious spirit, and they're not really taking themselves out there to be able to have that opportunity to meet anybody. Or there's just some that God has already revealed to them, like, okay, this is your wife and this is your husband. And because once you already know who your person is, it's just pointless to date. It's like, what's the point of dating someone if God has already shown you who your person is? There's no point. But even though God may show you who your person is, it doesn't mean that you guys are ready to be together. But the fact that you know who your person is, that alone will already, eliminate dating. Because it's kind of like, there's no point in dating somebody if you already know who your person is. What's the point? There's no point, because you know that if it's anybody outside of the person you're supposed to be with, there's chances are you may be going against what God's purpose is for your life. Even though you have free will, Because just because God shows you who your person is, you can decide whether you want to be with them or not. There's still free will involved, but you know that God has already chosen someone for you. So that if you're obedient to God, chances are you won't be dating. Do you get what I'm saying? So you'll see a lot of single Christian people because of that, because they know who their person is, and it doesn't make sense for them to date knowing who their person is. But at the same time, it can be a painful experience, because if your person is not where you are on the journey, or there's certain things that you can see in the spirit, and it's confirming to you why they're not ready to be with you, or why you guys are not ready to come together, it can be painful. And it's the truth. It can definitely be painful, right? But also, people have to understand, like, you cannot fool someone who is connected to God. You cannot try to play someone who is connected to God, because even before you and the person date or come together, you're going to see things about them. You're going to see things that they do. God will make sure that you know what it is that they are up to, what they're doing, and to let you know whether they're a red flag or not, or whether they're ready to be with you or not. And this is something that we have no control over. So yeah, some people say it's an invasion of privacy seeing what someone is doing. I'm going to give you some examples, because I don't want you guys to think it's some like you going and talking to someone about someone. No, it's more like an example. You're connected to someone in the spirit. God says, you know, two are better than one. And what God joins together, let no man separate, right? A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. So when God already connects you with someone in the spirit, when God picks a partner for you, it's like you guys are already connected in the spirit. You're married in the spirit, which means there's no privacy in the spirit. There may be privacy in the physical. You may not be around each other, and they can do stuff in the physical, and you're not around them to know, but you will find out in the spirit. It will eventually be revealed in the spirit if they're doing something in the physical. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you may not physically catch them doing something or see them doing something, but you will find out in the spirit, because you guys are already connected in the spirit. You guys are already married in the spirit. There's no secrets. There's no privacy when you two are together. Similar to when a husband and wife comes together in the physical and they get married, there should be no privacy between them, because when you're together, when you're joined together, you're both one, which means like there shouldn't be anything hidden from each other, right? And there's a lot of people who get married in the physical, and they don't have the gift to see in the spirit. And because of that, they're getting cheated on, they're getting played, and they're not receiving specific confirmations ahead of time to let them know what's going on. They may find out after, and they may find out by catching them do something in the physical, and that's their confirmation, compared to a person that can see in the spirit. They're literally finding out what they're doing before they even do it, or they're finding out in the spirit without receiving the physical confirmation right away. So it's almost like they know what's going on, right? So even when you're not with your person, you can literally see what it is that they are doing in the spirit. And that's not a person's fault who is connected to them in the spirit, who has that access in the spirit. That's not their fault. That's not invading privacy. That's God showing them, letting them know what's up. So they're not looking like a fool. So they're not being embarrassed. So they know whether the person is ready or not. So they know what's going down. Let me give you an example, right? Some of us, we can see, just like we can hear conversations from our enemies, because we have that gift to hear in the spirit, or just like we can see the plots and schemes of the enemies in the spirit. We can see when someone is lying to us. We can see when someone is trying to play us. We can see when someone's cheating. We can see all of that. So it's not an invasion of privacy. Let me tell you why. So you know how they say like a woman's intuition is very strong, right? If a woman's intuition is strong, even when she's not even, let's just say the woman's not as sensitive in the spirit, and she's not able to see as much in the spirit, but she knows when something's up. If a woman knows when something's up and she can't see in the spirit, imagine a woman or imagine a man that can actually see in the spirit. You can't hide nothing from this woman or man. You see what I'm saying? So even without looking for anything, if you are connected to someone in the spirit, whether you're married to them in the physical and you're connected to them in the spirit, or you're just connected to them in the spirit, but you're not together yet in the physical, but you know that you're meant to be with them because God has already told you that's your person, but they're not ready yet, you're going to see certain things. And not only that, but because you're connected, whatever they do, it will be revealed to you automatically without you asking, without you even looking. Okay, and it's not just that. Let me give you an example. So let's just say that you're sleeping and you start thinking about your kingdom wife or your kingdom husband, and you start thinking about, you know, you're ready to be with them and how come it's taken so long for you to be with them. All of a sudden a vision starts forming. You start seeing a vision of multiple faces of women or multiple faces of men. And then you see a vision of Instagram. That right there lets you know that they are still communicating with multiple people on Instagram. And that may be God very well showing you that they have not released certain people yet, right? So another example is, let's just say that with everything going on these days, with like the OnlyFans and pornography and all of that stuff going on, like it's so easy for people to go on the internet and to be tempted. And it takes a very strong man or a strong woman to be able to resist temptation like that. But a lot of people, because they're not in relationships, they will feed into these temptations, and then before you know it, there's a spirit attached to them, right? So you may know that's your person, but you guys ain't together yet, and you may be laying down wondering why y'all ain't together yet, and God may literally be showing you a vision of an OnlyFans account or a vision of a name. Let's just say, a vision of a name and a person's image or whatever, to let you know this person is not ready. They're fighting a spirit. There's a temptation spirit, or there's a seductive spirit that is still involved with them, so you guys can't come together yet, right? Because let me tell you something. If this person is doing all this and y'all ain't together, you're gonna have a serious problem when you guys come together with marriage. So they have to break free from that before y'all come together. Do you get where I'm coming from? So God will literally purposely separate you and keep you away from this person until they get themselves together, right? And it's not to say God is not going to keep you, God is going to keep you single and keep you lonely. You know, if the person doesn't get themselves together, God is not going to keep you lonely. Like, God is not going to do that. Everyone's situation is different, so I can't really speak on that particularly, because in some cases, if the person's not getting themselves together, God will definitely not let you sit there and be lonely. Like, he'll make sure that he blesses you with a husband, whether that person's ready or not, or a wife, whether that person's ready or not. But like I said, everyone's situation is specifically different, right? So I can't really speak on everyone's situation like that. But I'm giving examples, you know, how we can see in the spirit without even asking for certain things. God will just show us what the person's doing without us purposely trying to invade their privacy or looking for things. We'll just know. Another example how we'll know is because the people that they're associated with, will always, and that will have, if they're not good people, and let's just say that there's a guy, let me give you an example. Let's just say there's a guy that's messing with a girl on OnlyFans or something, right? And let's just say that you had a dream of this particular woman, but you didn't know who she was, and this woman's spirit came to you in the dream and said, oh, he's messing with me, right? And you're like, okay, is that warfare? Is that a demonic influence, or is that God warning me about something? So you're not sure which one it is, because you're like, I want to know if God is warning me, letting me know that he's doing this behind the scenes and that's why we can't be together yet, or if God is letting me know that this is just a warfare attempt and they're just making things up in order to make me upset at him, right? So let's just say that happens, and then you don't know which one it is, and then weeks later you see on Instagram that the guy is following a woman by the name of Ketty or whatever. And when you look at her, you realize she's the same woman that you saw in the dream, and you realize she's an Instagram model. God has brought you physical confirmation to let you know that what he showed you in the dream was indeed real. It wasn't warfare. That was indeed real confirmation that this person is still on their nonsense. They're still doing certain things they're not supposed to be doing, and they're not ready for you, right? That's to kind of give you that confirmation. So without you even, looking for anything, the revelation was revealed to you. Do you get what I'm saying? And before the revelation was even revealed to you in the physical, you had already received confirmation in the spirit. And you have to remember too, when people are connected to people who have certain spirits attached to them, especially when it comes to like OnlyFans, pornography, and all of that stuff, or Jezebel spirits, etc., these people will approach the very person that is connected to you in the spirit, and it will be revealed to the very person that's connected to you in the spirit. They will come to you. I've had people approach me in the spirit and tell me certain things in the past, the far past, and I would find out physical proof later on related to my ex, right? This stuff happens a lot. So God will definitely have confirmations being revealed to you in the spiritual and the physical. So no, it's not an invasion of privacy. You don't have to go out of your way to look to find something. When you are gifted in the spirit, it is going to be revealed to you. No one can hide secrets from you. And if you have a problem and with a woman being able to see in the spirit, you may not want to marry a chosen one. You may not want to connect with someone. If you're going to continue on with these types of games, you may not want to marry someone who is connected to God like that, because God doesn't play about his children, his sons and his daughters. And when you are connected like that to God, best believe people are not going to be able to do sneaky things without you finding out. You're going to find out without you even looking for it, because God is going to always have your back, and God is going to always look out for you. And this is one of the reasons, like I said, why there's so many single people, so many single Christians who have that gift to see in the spirit. Because once you can see in the spirit and you see what another person is doing, it's like you know right away to avoid that person, or you know right away to keep your distance until things change. Do you get what I'm saying? Or until the right person comes your way, until God brings the right person, or if that is your person, until things change, right? You just know. And like I said, it's a very lonely journey for many of us. It's a very lonely journey because some of the stuff that we can see, it discourages us from even wanting to go into relationships in the first place. Even if you have someone, like even if God already has someone for you, some of the stuff you see will make you feel discouraged, because it's like, with everything going on in the world right now and all this temptation and all this stuff, and then to be able to see certain things, it's almost like you don't even want to be in a relationship. It's almost like, God, I don't even want to be married or be with anybody. It's like, I would prefer to be single than to have to deal with all that, especially if you are someone that in the past you were not as gifted in the spirit and you went through so much in the past. I know I went through a lot in the past, and I was gifted in the spirit, but I wasn't as gifted in the spirit. Like, I wasn't as discerned, and a lot of things would fly over my head, and a lot of things will come to the surface later on, and I'd be like, man, I suspected that, but I didn't know. And when you go through so much things like that, it's like you don't have time for the little petty things. So when you see one thing that you're like, wow, this is not good, it's like you tend to kind of like keep your distance. It's like you tend to protect yourself, because being in a relationship, you want to feel safe. You want to feel safe. You want to feel protected. You don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to get my heart broken, or oh my gosh, like your husband is supposed to protect you. And that means mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? And your wife is supposed to also protect you mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay, you're supposed to cover each other. And doing shady stuff and DMs and text messages and sneaky things like that, that's not protecting your partner's mental health. So when you see little things like that ahead of time, before y'all even come together, or when you see little things like that while you guys are together, that can break your spirit. Literally, that can break your spirit, because when you're married to someone, they're supposed to protect you. And this is why God will keep certain people away from each other until they're ready for each other. This is why God will keep his sons and daughters away from their kingdom person until things are changed, until certain deliverance has been done, until certain witchcraft has been cleared. Because God does not want to put you in a situation where you're stressing, where you're heartbroken, where you're crying all the time and your spirit is completely broken, because the very person that's supposed to protect you spiritually and cover you spiritually is entertaining spirits that are now tormenting you at night because they don't know how to keep their stuff in their pants. Do you get what I'm saying? Or they don't know how to keep their legs closed, however way it is. So God will most of the times keep those people separated until certain deliverance has been done. And this is why celibacy is important. This is why it's so important to start practicing certain things and start doing certain things before you even go into your relationship with anybody. If you are celibate before you enter a relationship with someone, and you know you are not even entertaining a bunch of men or entertaining a bunch of women, and you're just focused on God, and you already know who your person is, and you're not slipping up, God will indeed give you the okay and the cue to go into your marriage, to go into your union. But if you are, away from your person because you had to get yourself together and they had to get themselves together, and you're still entertaining other women or other men, however way it is, and you're not, you're working on getting yourself right, but you're slipping up every month, or you're slipping up every 2 months, and people make mistakes, yes, but if God knows that's gonna cost his daughter to have a broken heart and to not mentally be okay, or that's gonna cause his son to have a broken heart, not mentally be okay, he is gonna delay that union until that person gets it together. You see what I'm saying? And God is not gonna lie to his son or his daughter. If the union is delayed because someone keeps slipping up, God is going to ensure that he lets his daughter or his son know that the reason why this is delayed is because your partner is XYZ doing this. This person has DMs and messages in their Facebook thing, or DMs and messages in their Instagram, or they're on OnlyFans, or they're entertaining strippers, or they're entertaining escorts, and God is going to let the person know this is what's causing delays. Or they have an addiction, or they need counseling, or they need therapy. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's going to cause a delay. But God isn't two-faced. God will definitely let the other party know what's going on. And that's why when I saw that TikTok video of the woman where she said, be careful what you pray for. And if you're not ready to know who your husband or your wife is, don't pray for it. Because if it's not time for y'all to be together, don't pray for it, because once you know and they're not ready, it can be a painful experience, and it's the truth. It can definitely be a painful experience, especially if the person's not ready, or the person's not, hasn't received that type of revelation as yet, or they're not walking the same path as yet, right? So, do y'all think it's an invasion of privacy to be able to see in the spirit what your partner is doing, or do you think that that's okay? I think it's okay, because at the end of the day, if whatever is done in the dark will be brought to light. Nothing is hidden when it comes to God, right? And when God has to reveal things to you, he will reveal things to you. He's not going to leave you in the dark. He's going to be honest with you. You see what I'm saying? And if that person knows that they have a husband or they have a wife, it's really up to them to get it together. It's really up to them to get it together. The reason why a lot of people are going through this in their marriages right now is because many people did not become more advanced in their gifts until they were in their marriage already. So like, for instance, someone may have been married to someone for like 5 years. And in the beginning of the marriage, they were not as sensitive in the spirit. They were not on the journey. And then later on in the marriage, they start to become more sensitive in spirit. They start to see in the spiritual realm. They're more discerned. And now they're having revelations and prophecies, and they're seeing things before it happens. And if you're in a marriage with someone who has not gotten themselves together and who's doing all this, it can be very painful, because now you're able to see everything. And yes, you're supposed to be strong and pray over your husband or pray over your wife while this stuff is going on, right? You're supposed to do that, and you're supposed to fight for your marriage, right? But it can be a very painful experience. And for some of you guys who are like, oh, well, I want to get married, I can't wait to get married, God was taking my marriage so long, God may be actually saving your mental health right now and your spiritual health right now, because the very person that maybe he has aligned for you, he knows this person has the potential to be that good husband or that good wife, because God knows what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 6 years from now. So he very well may know the person is going to be a good husband and going to be a good wife, but they're not ready right now. They're not there yet. So if he was to allow you to go into your marriage now, it's going to be heartbreaking. So God may be sparing you the heartbreak. And this is why patience is important. This is why it's important to not rush God when it comes to certain things. You see what I'm saying? This is why it's so important not to rush God when it comes to certain things, because God may be preventing certain disasters and certain heartbreaks from happening. You know? So anyways, I want to talk to you guys about that. But this is just crazy, because I'm just like, with everything going on, I was listening to Uncle Tony Gaskin. He was talking about like the OnlyFans and the phones and the text messages, and people like talking about leaders, big time leaders in the churches, and leaders, big public figures online who are doing things behind the scenes, and they have wives and they're on their phones doing this stuff. And it's so real, because I'm telling you, people have burner phones. They will go on Instagram DMs, the vanish modes. They will go on Instagram. Facebook Messenger. They will find a way. It's like men and women will find a way to cheat. They'll find a way to cheat if they're not walking with the Holy Spirit properly, and they're not, they're not fearful of God. They will find a way to cheat. And trust me, this was one of my biggest fears after I came out my last marriage. I was like, God, I don't want to go through this ever again, because I know the secrets. I can see the burner phones in my visions. Like, I can see burner phones. I can see like the Pinterest messages. I can see all this stuff that men use. Most women use it too, but mainly men use these types of stuff to cheat, and their wives won't even know. Like, I can see certain things in the spirit, and I'm just like, man, like, I can't go through all that. I don't want to go through all that. That's a headache. That is a headache. And this is why many of us are single right now. We're not with our person, because we want to avoid all that. You see what I'm saying? If it's not time yet, I ain't rushing anything. If it's not time for someone to be with you, don't rush anything, because people need to get clean. They need to get delivered of certain spirits. And you know what I'm saying? And knowing the type of person I am, if I was to go into a relationship and I was to see something like that, I would be out. And you guys could say I'm weak, and you guys can say that, oh, you're supposed to hold your husband down, etc., etc., etc. I'm sorry, but if I see something like that, if I see a text message or a DM or anything like that, God knows I'm out. God knows I'm out. He understands I'm out. He knows I'm out. And that's why he has told me it's not time yet for me to be with anybody, because he knows that's my mentality. If I was to see something, I would be gone. And that person would be cut out my life exactly the way my exes are cut out my life. I would treat him the exact same way, right? So you have to be patient with God when it comes to certain things, because as eager as you want to get married and you want to settle down, you don't know what type of demons the person you're supposed to be with is fighting, especially with all of this going on. Even though sometimes it may feel like it's not a blessing, but this is why it is such a blessing to be able to see in the spirit, because there's nothing that someone will know that you don't know, because you're able to see it in the spirit beforehand. You will even see before they cheat or before they even attempt to be tempted. You will see it before it even happens. So it is a blessing to be able to see in the spirit. It's definitely a blessing to see in the spirit, But anyways, I want to talk to you guys about that. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.